Hey sailors, welcome to the crew. I'm Sea Lord Janda, and this is my Let's Play of Rule the Waves 3 as the United States. We've just finished up a war with Russia and Spain in which we annexed Hainan, and we're currently engaging in a peaceful period of building up the fleet, replacing our cruiser force, and generally preparing for whatever the 1920s and 30s might have to throw at us. We still have a budget surplus after that. Man, if I had 6 Brooklyns, I mean, it would just be so hilariously superior to everyone else's cruiser fleet. Ooh, everybody is starting to build, well, not everybody, but some of the major powers are starting to build light carriers now, which is interesting. But I have one. I don't need another, really, imminently. I think it's time we designed a light cruiser. All of the light cruisers we have in service really desperately need to be replaced. And the good news about that is, yeah, we can entirely skip the generation of single turret centerline type stuff that we've seen around, and we can just build something that... Is it even worth... I mean, well, actually, for guns like this, the difference between a 2 and a 3-inch belt is still somewhat significant. It might not be worth having both levels of torpedo defense, but, well, maybe it is. It's going to end up being a really big ship if we go for that, though. Now, this is going to be a massively heavy ship, so I might need to cut down on this a little. Okay, so see, we're talking an 8,000-ton light cruiser here. On the other hand, it makes 30 knots. It's got 8 6-inch guns in 4 twin turrets on the center line, which probably gives her almost 50% more firepower than pretty much anything else out there right now. It's got a pretty solid secondary battery. Not spectacular, but it'll do. It's got torpedo defense, it's got armor, it makes 30 knots. She makes 30 knots, I should say. Are these deck-mounted torpedoes? I think they are. Also mines. I'm not going to take a whole bunch. I'm not trying to build a torpedo cruiser here. I might let us take a couple of deck mounts and risk us exploding. Dang, we can have quadruple tube submerged torpedoes? Oh no, we can't, okay. Alright, I get it. You know what? Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's an explosion risk if you have those, so I'm just going to stick with the old reliable, not that reliable, submerged tubes, probably. And that'll let me get a couple more secondaries on. And cut the weight down by a couple 100 tons. Okay, I'm noticing that these guns are not on the ship, but that's acceptable. I don't really know how to... No, that doesn't really fix it. I'm sure there's some way to screw around with these visuals to make this work, but I don't really know how to do it. I've never messed with it much, so I'm just going to leave it. Okay, I think this is a very solid light cruiser design. Apparently they really want it to be called Galveston. This is 1922. Galveston doesn't... Does Galveston even exist anymore? Didn't it die already by 1922? Hold on. A little bit of Googling. Galveston, Texas. Destroyed by hurricane when? 1900, yeah. Yeah, so why would we name this Galveston? I'm going to name it Juno is fine. Oh, we don't have director for secondary guns. That's fine. That'll save us even more weight. Oh, almost. Eh. How much budget does that save me? Not that much, really. We'll just make it have a little bit of spare weight. Okay. Obviously, going to be very expensive. Again. But that's just, you know. If you've been watching, by now you know that I mostly build pretty expensive ships. It'll be a very nice light cruiser. It's not even heavier. I mean, it's actually 100 tons lighter than our Tacoma class, so if it's bigger than the Chicagos and Olympias, at least it's got much more firepower and armor and speed. You know what? Just buzz off. Advanced penetrator. Fix that, guys. Penetrator alloys. Gradual AP penetration improvement. Better wet heater engine and 40mm cannon and transverse arrestor wires for lowered risk of landing accidents. And that torpedo tech gives us another 100 and 500 yards of range. I don't know if I have enough Lawrence-class building to finally phase out all our older destroyers or not, but we'll figure it out when they're done. We still can't build carrier forces, apparently. Or can't figure them out, unfortunately. 2 Juno-class. Juno and Flint. Obviously, we're going to need more like 8 to 12 of these all told, but this is what we can afford for now. We'll be able to lay down 2 or 3 more as soon as Constitution is finished. Maybe the old Constitution got wrecked back when the British were blockading our coast or something. I don't need another war right now. I'll send a cruiser. Okay, tensions are pretty high with Russia and Britain again. I don't need a war with Russia again. Britain would be alright, actually. No, we're due to receive a smaller share of expenditures as government spending increases? That's lame. Realistic, but lame. What's the improvement here? Oh, it can carry heavier... It can carry medium bombs. Or, yeah. It can carry a heavier bomb load, in effect. Yes, alright, fine. Let's request tenders for a new torpedo bomber prototype. If you bloody well insist. Good grief. I mean, there's only 6 of them or something in the fleet, so it's not exactly a huge priority. Okay, we've commissioned Constitution. 2 more destroyers are finished. Yes, I will take that offer, actually. You're not going to let this go, are you, game? Fine. Galveston it is. We're concerned about tensions leading to war. If you want base arm for war, spend more on the Navy. We're struggling with success on about 3 different techs there. Force circulation, partial building, and super heavy shells, but I'm sure they'll figure it out one day. Yeah, I'm going to order a 4th Juno. Oakland is fine. Alright, so we finished our 3rd constellation. That gives us 3 constellations, 2 Saratogas, and a Lexington. So we finally have that 6-ship battlecruiser force that I was targeting. As you can see just from the numbers and tonnage alone, it can fight anyone in the world's battlecruiser force except probably Britain's, but I'm not actually convinced it can't fight Britain's, because Britain's is deeply flawed in almost every possible way, between the New Zealands that have cross-deck fire and no armor, to the Invincibles that also have cross-deck fire and no armor, except now it's with 16-inch guns. Why? The gods alone know. Oh, they finally built a decent battlecruiser with their very latest, though. HMS Courageous here. 8 16-inch guns, 4 twin turrets, 30 knots, 11.5-inch belt. This is literally the first battlecruiser Britain has ever built that doesn't have cross-deck fire and isn't a massive glass cannon. Apparently, they've taken a leaf out of my book at last, so that's scary, but the whole rest of their battlecruiser force is garbage, so, you know, I'm still only so worried about it. So yes, we have the 6-ship force I was looking for. Once Independence is finished, at that point, I'm going to decommission old Congress here, because with only 24 knot speed, all the others have, I think, 28 plus, yeah. Only a 24 knot speed, only 6 guns, inadequate belt. She's hopeless compared to all the others, so. I know we have money, but that's just a compulsion with me. We don't actually have any ships even close to 52,000 tons yet. I'll probably just leave that. Yeah. We have enough money that we could build more stuff for this turn, but I'm going to wait for all those destroyers to finish and then clear out however many more of these that I can. And then figure out how many more destroyers I need to lay down to make up the difference. Great Britain and Italy have signed an alliance. Scandal with some dignitaries from Japan has occurred at a party given on a world cruise by one of your ships. Let's use it to embarrass Japan. Better 3-inch guns. We could fight Japan. I mean, they would lose, but I mean, it'd be a pretty close fight between our battle ships, but they have hardly any battle cruisers. They were pretty good battle cruisers from what I remember. They don't have enough of them. Well, Japan is building big heavy cruisers. Nobody else has reacted to my heavy cruiser buildup yet. And they're not really reacting to my light cruiser buildup yet either. The AI does react a little bit to what you do. I suspect my not building heavy cruisers is part of why they don't really have any. Except they just get rid of their old ones, whereas I have doggedly held on to mine the whole time. Do we have enough for tonnage on foreign stations still? No, we do. Okay. Then I'm going to mothball Charlotte and probably put San Diego's into reserve, to be honest. For all we've got conquered, it's pretty impressive that just the 4 Chicagos plus Salt Lake City are enough to cover all of our foreign stations still. I want to mothball Lexington to just save a little more money, because in 7 months I'm decommissioning her anyway. Right, how many destroyers do we have in service? 59. To be fair, if we're going to keep up with Germany and Britain, which our budget is now the biggest in the world, so we really should, we might need to target 60 at this point. So honestly, let's say we've got about 2 to spare, and we can decommission a couple more Cummings class, and then we're going to need to spend the rest on more destroyers. Now the question is, what can I get with a 2,000-ton destroyer? Because that's the thing we can do now. Okay, I know the last destroyers made 33 knots at least. We can't do dual mounts yet, but 5-inch guns maybe. 2 quadruple centerline mounts. How's about 3 quadruple centerline mounts, eh? Does that make it crowded? No. Just exceeds the topside equipment limit. Oh, and it has AA. I don't know if my destroyers need to be the very first ships we ever build that have AA. Wow. So at 1,500 tons, this is almost perfect. I guess then the question is, what if I had an aft superimposed turret? That's perfect at 1,600 tons. What if I wanted 34 knots? That has to be 1,800 tons. I don't think the extra knot is worth it, considering we're building in bulk. It really often just goes for the same name for ages. Okay. Henley class, 33 knots, 4 5-inch guns in an actually rational turret layout, 3 quadruple torpedo tubes, and it's even got AA. Why? Who knows, but it does. And it's got depth charge throwers and storage. And it's got mines, which I don't actually really want. However, all my destroyers for a while have had some, so... Ooh, mine's sweeping gear. No, that costs too much weight. Okay, at this point I'm wondering if I could save. I can't save. Well, heck, if I can't, then I guess I might as well just put the mines on, huh? If I've just got spare capacity of weight. Ooh. Really? Can't put a second fire control position on? I mean, it could be a little lighter, considering it's a destroyer. No? Alright, this should be a pretty good all-around design. It's moderately better than our existing destroyers, and it shouldn't be too much more expensive either. In the meantime, well, we've got 2 Brooklyns underway, 2 finished. I'm just going to lay down the last 2. And that will probably pretty much complete the revitalization of our heavy cruiser force. And we'll just have a massive lead over the AI in the whole field of heavy cruisers. Two more destroyers commissioned. Internal belt, more armor quality. That's ready for construction. Not yet. Okay, do I have... Okay, yeah. We'll be at 60 destroyers once this one's commissioned. So with that in mind... let's let the first 4 Brooklyns and 4 Junos... Or let's let these 4 Junos get underway a little more. Let's finish the destroyer force. How many more do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 11, 13 by the looks of it, to get rid of everything below the Gwyn class. We don't actually really have the money, but slay ourselves down as many of these as we have reasonably funding for. Start with half a dozen. I think the budget should hold out until independence is completed, and then we can lay down the last 7. Two submarines commissioned. Oh, those are finally ready. Well, okay. What was even the other message? Delays with those, huh? Really? Okay. Okay. Jarvis is commissioned, our last Lawrence class. Oh, we can have airships with parasite fighters now. Still don't care, not building any airships. Sorry, guys. I know they're cool, but yeah, they are all low. They're also useless, so... Just reviewing my priorities here. think it's all still good. In 4 months, independence will be completed, and that's probably where we'll leave this episode. With the long-awaited... Oh, we've stolen Russian 13-inch guns. I'm not going to use 13-inch guns, probably, but we'll see. Oh, good, our torpedo prototypes. Boeing XTB-10, Grumman XTB-11, Lockheed XTB-12, and Consolidated XTB-13. Okay, right off the bat, the Grumman is out because it's slower than our existing design, and way slower than all the other proposed designs. I think the Lockheed is out because it's really short-ranged compared to all the others. I see it does have good maneuverability, but I'm not so worried about that. So that brings it down to the Consolidated and the Boeing. They've got similar speeds. The Boeing has significantly better range. These both have the same maneuverability and toughness. Okay, so the trade-off is the Consolidated carries a bigger bomb load. However, these are torpedo bombers. They can each carry one torpedo. So, I mean, maybe sometimes it would be appropriate to use them in a bomb configuration, but mostly they'll be carrying torpedoes. So I think the Boeing XTB-10 is going to be the design of choice. It's one of the faster ones. It's got excellent range. It's got the best range. And it can carry a torpedo, so... Yeah, fine. We can get a new fighter, too, if you insist. I mean, every 3 years is probably about right. It just doesn't, you know... There's so few aircraft in service still. I mean, the numbers are starting to climb. In fact, wow. Some of the AI have really built a lot, presumably from land bases, but... in just the last couple of years here, but they're still not exactly absolutely critical to warfare. They're basically just acting as scouts still for the most part. Maybe a very lucky torpedo hit, but it's not 1940, you know? Oh, we're finally making progress towards carrier force. That's nice. And now we're going to have a long loading time again, apparently. Struggling with hydrophones. Struggling with later air-launched torpedoes. But better 17-inch guns. Probably also not a caliber I'll ever use, but you never know. There's 20 or 30 years yet in which we could build super battleships, maybe. They're not exactly impossible, they're just kind of wild. Alright, one more month. And we've commissioned USS Independence. I'm not selling this to France because we might fight France. Partial welding, 1% weight saving on hulls. Finally, a carrier force, so our carriers will actually operate separately from the rest of the fleet. Okay, and that's saved us a bunch of money, and we now have our sort of target dream battlecruiser force with 2 Saratogas, 4 Constellations. I am going to go ahead and officially decommission USS Congress. She does have, I believe, 4 battle stars, 5 even, sort of. She fought at the Bay of Fundy 10 years ago now. Well, a lot of time went by at peace really quickly. She engaged British battlecruisers there. She fought the second Bay of Fundy, was badly damaged, but dealt a lot of hits to British battlecruisers. Third Bay of Fundy, apparently. She hit the British. Probably did well. And yes, she technically fought that battle with the Russians too, but mostly her time was 10 years ago during our war with Britain. She's now gently being scrapped. So that brings us to, we've got 10 Dreadnoughts, 6 battlecruisers. Yes, our 4 sort of closest rivals have 4 to 5 more Dreadnoughts than us and are still building them faster than us. We will build more soon, once I've got our cruiser and destroyer forces up to scratch. For the moment, I'm relatively content just in knowing that a lot of what they've got is not terrible designs, but relatively old designs. Whereas mine are all proper, proper 4 centerline turret minimum Dreadnoughts. We will need more, but I'm relatively content that if it came to a fleet battle with any of these 4 fleets, that we would have at least a good fighting chance. And it doesn't always come to that, so in the meantime, I want to get our cruisers in order now, because they've been neglected for too long. Once our heavy cruisers are pretty much done, I would say 6 is all we've had for most of the game. Maybe we had 8 for a while or something, but 6 will do for now, considering the AI literally has none. So we're going to get these last 4 Brooklyns commissioned, decommission our Memphis and San Diegos, and be good there. We're probably going to need 12 Junos-ish, or at least 10 or something, just to act as fleet scouts and general light ship and foreign station duties and etc. We've only got 4 now, so we're going to need to build a bunch more. Destroyers will be good. We just need 7 more. That's what I'm going to put the budget into right now. And then we can just be done with that. Once those 7 destroyers are finished, we should have 60 destroyers of 900 tons and up. In all honesty, we're probably going to need to just replace the Gwyn class pretty quickly as well. I mean, they're over 10 years old, but they are 4 years newer than these Cassins and Cummings, at least. So yeah, the Gwyns will probably get replaced pretty shortly as well. But for now, prioritizing these oldest ones that only have 3-inch guns and don't make 30 knots anymore. And once these are done, I'll start building Junos at a very high rate, probably. Once all that's done, probably by then we'll have to look at building an aircraft carrier, and then also more battleships, most likely. In the meantime, thank you everybody for watching, and have a nice day.